Good morning. Welcome to the worship service of the First Unitarian Church of Hobart. My name is Barb Langle, and I participate in the life of the church by serving on the Board of Trustees. We are a religious community of people with diverse beliefs and shared values. Our diverse beliefs are expressed in our 6 sources, and our shared values are expressed in our 7 principles. Both can be found online at uua.org. Together, we strive to grow spiritually, build community, and live our values in the world. I have a couple announcements. Today after service, we could use a few strong volunteers to bring up the couple of the trees and the decorations. And Thursday at 5 o'clock, this Thursday at 5 o'clock, all are invited for the seasonal decorating party. And bring a snack to share if you can. Membership Ministry will have a new member orientation on Sunday, December 17th at 12:30. If anyone is interested in attending, please contact me after the service for a membership packet. I have about five that I know of that are going to be taking the class. All right.
I'm going to take the class just to revise.
Oh, yeah.
Just bring it up front, just so I remember it all.
And on that, we still have our giving tree out there besides our offering to Hearts in Motion. I forgot it for a minute. My mind went blank. So we do have some names out there. So if anybody can, take a person, a child, or whatever off the giving tree, and make sure you bring anything you buy unwrapped by the 17th, December 17th. Okay. When Pastor Tom is not in the pulpit, we invite a guest or a member of our congregation to speak. Today, we have Myra, Cseke, and Jerry Ashmore. We are currently streaming our services online. The joys and sorrows portion of our service, however, is private, and we will take a break during that time. Other than that, the service will be recorded and will be available for future viewing on Facebook, YouTube, and our church website. Now, please let your Facebook and Twitter friends know that you're attending worship with hashtag First Unitarian Hobart. Silence your devices. Take a deep breath. And another. And join us in the spirit of reverence.
If you would, join me in lighting the chalice. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We'd like to speak in a hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in a celebration of the life we share together.
Our opening words can be found in the back of your gray hymnal, number 702. Where hate rules, let us bring love. Where sorrow, joy. Let us strive more to comfort others than to be comforted, to understand others than to be understood, to love others more than to be loved. For it is in giving that we receive, and in pardoning that we are pardoned. Attributed to St. Francis of Assisi.
Now please rise and body your spirit for our opening hymn, number 16, to the gift to be simple, in your great hymnal. And please remain arisen for the affirmation of faith, covenanting, greeting the neighbor, and doxology. Number 16.
Join me with our affirmation of faith. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. And this is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We Unitarian Universalists are bound together not by creed, since we don't have one, but by covenant, the covenants that we choose to make together. Our covenants aren't about trying to be perfect. We know that we are both keeping and breaking promises at the same time quite often. We keep our covenants to the best of our ability, but we also break them despite our best efforts. And we are also always learning to seek restoration and renewal. Our UU covenant may be reinforced by forgiveness and grace. When we stumble, forget, mess up, and they hold us as we find our way back to right relationship through reconciliation. So in that spirit, I invite you to join in our weekly recoveting. I will signal for you to respond to each of the three parts of our covenant this morning with, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways we have neglected to consider our thoughts before speaking, communicate in a clear and positive manner, and to pause before acting, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have neglected to speak directly to those concerned with an issue, offer and receive appropriate criticism and praise, and provide timely, specific, and clear feedback, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have not been appropriately supportive of others without taking sides, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. Now is the time to greet our neighbor. We realize that not everyone can attend in person. We extend a special welcome to all who are joining us virtually, and thank you to our tech team for making the live stream and recording possible. For those in the sanctuary, please take a moment to greet your neighbors by waving your hands and letting the warmth of your smile fill the spaces between us.
This congregation expresses our deepest sorrows and greatest joys in community. We believe that a sorrow shared is diminished and a joy shared is magnified. We pause, listening to what arises in our hearts. If anyone would like to share today, I will come to you. Please stand and share your name, and I will hold the mic and do my best so that people can hear you. You do your part. lift up these joys and sorrows, and we hold them in our hearts, including those that were too tender to share aloud.
The story today is Noticing by Kobe Yamada. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? It seemed as if someone was talking to me. Oh, it's okay, I guess, I replied. Just okay? A woman sitting nearby responded. Why, we have the birds, the trees, the sky, the questions, the what-ifs, and the why-nots. I'd say this is indeed an exceptional day to be alive, don't you think? Well, if you say so, I shrugged. It seemed like an ordinary day to me. Are you a painter? I asked. Well, I like to think of myself as more of a noticer, really, she answered. I just try to make things from what I see. It is my way of appreciating and honoring them. As I looked at her canvas, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How could someone create something so amazing? I wondered. She was definitely a painter. She looked over to me and asked, when you look up, what do you see? Clouds? You see clouds? That's all, just clouds? The painter asked, astonished. Oh, I think so, I said, uncertain as I scanned the sky. Why? What do you see? Oh, so much, she said excitedly. It's like the whole sky is tempting me to be amazed. I see wild horses running free and upside-down castles. I see whales flying like songbirds and a dragon breathing fire. But it's not only that. I'm filled with butterflies of excitement. It feels like an adventure is unfolding, and I don't want to miss any of it. I stared up, wanting to see what she saw. The more you pause and allow for the extraordinary, the painter explained, the more you find it. And often what we see depends on what we look for. Take this mountain, for instance, she gestured to the horizon. A climber might see a great challenge. A scientist might see the movement of an ancient glacier, and someone else might notice the cool breeze traveling from its snowy peaks. Though we all may look at the same thing, we don't always see it in the same way. That is true for mountains and also for people. When we look at others, we may see their faces or their clothes, she continued, but we are only seeing a tiny piece of who they really are. We often don't notice the important things, like their capacity for love, what they hope for, what they dream of, or who they can become. We can often miss the most beautiful parts of them. I wondered what I wasn't noticing. I wondered what I was missing. What do you see in you? Asked the painter. I looked down at my hands, my clothes, my shoes that were a size too big so I could grow into them. Just a kid like any other kid, I suppose. Oh, but you are not like anyone else. In fact, there isn't another person exactly like you anywhere, the painter encouraged. And the amazing thing is, there never has been, and there never will be ever again. Well, I'm not sure there's anything all that special about me, I said. Oh, but everything is special about you. There isn't really a single thing about you that isn't extraordinary, she shared enthusiastically. You are the rare and unique combination of what was and the bright possibility of what can be. And you know what? So is everyone else. Everyone shines and needs to be seen. Everyone wants to know that they matter, that there is a place for them, and that they are needed. Sure, some may hide their brilliance, but the light is in there, always flickering, and it is a beautiful thing when we can reflect it back to them. I always looked forward to my visits with the painter. I had to admit, as much as I couldn't wait to see her, I also couldn't wait to see what she saw. On one occasion, I went to go find her, and she was sitting peacefully with her eyes shut. What are you doing? I asked, shyly. not wanting to interrupt her. "Well, hello, you," she smiled and waved me over. "Some days I find that I can notice even more when I close my eyes," she explained. "The gentle rustling of my hair, the ideas dancing in my head, the sunshine on my face, and the wonder of being alive." She invited me to close my eyes. "What does home look like to you? What does kindness feel like? What does love look like?" the painter asked. "What does it feel like to have a friend? What does it look like to be one?" One of the most important ways we see is with our imagination. So many significant things cannot be seen with your eyes, but they are very real, and it is vital that you look for and believe in them. I was filled with a feeling of calm and appreciation. It was moving and wonderful. I sat there with my eyes closed, picturing the people and places and things that meant so much to me in my life. One of the best things you can be is interested, the painter shared. When you are interested, you are curious. And when you are curious, you discover things, amazing things, about yourself and about the world. The miraculous is everywhere and in everything, waiting for us to notice it, waiting for us to appreciate it, waiting for us to love it. It's been years since that day when I first met the painter. I miss her. I wish she were still here so I could tell her what she has meant to me and how she helped me to look at everything differently. But mostly, what I wish I could say is, thank you for seeing me.
And now, please let's remain seated for our middle hymn, number 352, Your Grave and Find Us Stillness.
Good morning. I'd like to thank this church for inviting me to speak on this subject. The last time I spoke on the subject of meditation was in 1983 from this pulpit. Well, we have a Zen group, so I give lots of Dharma talks, but this is not a Dharma talk. And I spoke on, the title of my sermon at that time was What You Always Wanted to Know About a Zen Retreat and Was Afraid to Ask. I got that clever little title from a book that was popular at the time. I changed it. Well, I spoke. I demonstrated everything that I learned at that retreat. It was my second retreat ever. And one person heard me. One person. Bob Kemp. And he came back the next week, and I demonstrated some Buddhist bowing, where you go down all the way. And he says, you know, that bowing makes you sore. And I thought, wow, maybe I've got a partner here. So that's how the Empty Circle Zen group started, from that talk. That was 1983. And we've been going ever since. So when I meet a newcomer in this church, I always ask, how did you get here? How did you find out about this place? Because I love to hear the stories of how they found out, especially before the internet. Now they've Googled it somehow, but then it was a little different. So everybody's got a story about how you end up here. So my talk will be about my story about how I ended up here talking about meditation. It's a journey. We're all on a journey. Some of it's painful, but you learn a lot from pain. Some of it's exciting and some of it's inspiring. You learn a lot from that too. So this is my story. We're all conditioned beings. We are conditioned by culture, family, and life experience. We are unique. Each one of us, it was in the reading. We're unique but not separate. Very important. You don't have to give up your sense of personality and self to transcend it. It's part of you. It's like the other side of a coin. Two parts. Very important. We are unique. No one else has your experience. No one else has your memories. No one else has your DNA. Like the reading said, you are unique in the whole world. You are unique. But you're not separate. And I found out over the years that this idea that I was part of the other, or you were part of the other, and there was this gap, and I wasn't good enough, that I was separate. And so, I was raised in a loving home. My grandparents and mother gave me unconditional love. But my father gave me tough love, because that's the way he was raised. So we had a little friction. And somehow or other, although it was a positive experience at home, we had everything we needed and a little bit of what we wanted. We were like a working class family. I went out in the world with a sense of, I'm not good enough. I don't know how I picked that up. I don't know, but I did. And it was strong. So I carried that with me through grade school and into high school. And then a conspicuous coincidence happened. I missed getting a physical in time to go out for football. Thank God they'd have massacred me. I weighed 142 pounds. They have massacred me. So I'm sitting in the doctor's office waiting to see the doctor to get a physical because I wanted to play basketball. And I was talking to this perfect stranger, and I told him my problem, and he says, why don't you go out for cross country? I said, what's that? I had no idea what it was. He said, well, you run 2 miles on a golf course. Oh, well, okay. But the cross country program at Griffith High School was basically a basketball preparation program. There was no coaching. We had meets, and you worked out on your own, but no one told you what to do. So I was just, like that. So I ran my first race. I was second to the last. But by the end of high school, I got 10th in the state with no coaching. So I had talent. So that inspired me. I wanted to run in college. And I laid out a school year to earn some more money. My family wasn't rich. And I went to Western Michigan University, where I had a very successful collegiate career. Made All-American 3 times, track cross country, made the Olympic trials in 1960. All because of that conspicuous coincidence in that office. I don't know what would have happened otherwise. But anyway, but that gave me confidence. I had some self-confidence, and it also gave me something else. It gave me purpose and meaning in life. I wanted to make the U.S. Olympic team. Pick that up. Well, fast forward, I didn't make the U.S. Olympic team. I ran a lousy race, actually. I got scared. I got nervous. I ran a lousy race. And I retired, I kept running, though. And I retired in 1967. I ran amateur for the Chicago Track Club until 67, when I finally quit. But then I made a big mistake. I needed to find meaning and purpose, so I leaped into the anti-war movement, but lots of drinking. Lots of joints. Lots of drinking. That didn't work out well. It was 1967. By 71, I divorced my wife. Unhappy man. And a year later, I married my second wife, Sandy. And but I continued in a modified version. I cut back on the wildlife a little bit. I was drinking deeply of the 60s, let's put it that way. I cut back on the wildlife a little bit, but I never cut it out. So I had a daily habit. Triggers. Hard day at work, drink. Somebody upset you, drink. Solved all my problems, right. Bullshit. It created problems. I finally woke up to that fact. I'm a slow learner. I finally woke up to that fact that I didn't know the solution. I had a psych minor in college, but that none of that helped. So I went to the library. And I went to the library and I discovered the Buddha Dharma. I discovered the Dharma. And I looked at the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and I thought, this looks like training to me. I know how to train. I was a distance runner. You train twice a day. You know, but you got to train properly. So you study the technique, and then you practice. You show up. You practice. So I Xeroxed a copy of the Eightfold Path, but I was particularly focused on meditation, because that was where the training came in. The rest of the path is just realizations that you gained from meditation. So I leaped right in. That was 1978. Leaped right in. I've been at it ever since. And like I said, I gave one talk here, and one person heard me, and that's how the Empty Circle Zen group started here. We've been here since '83. So now I'd like to describe why that's so powerful. Why is meditation so powerful? Our form, and there's many different forms of meditation, but they all have one thing in common. No matter what tradition or style you pick up, no matter what religion it's from, all religions have their version of it. It's called, you have to focus your mind. Because when you learn how to focus your mind, it calms down. Because thinking is not being present. So there's a way to cultivate what I call the witness. The witness of what? Of thought, speech, and action. And that's what really, I haven't had a drink in 34 years. So that shows you the power of meditation. Now, why does it work like that? If you look in your order of service, I think they included a schema that I pass out to newcomers in the Zen group. It's a visual demonstration of what happens when you meditate. Should be in there, is it? Yeah. What happens when you meditate? So here, at the bottom, you're sitting. Now this is just sitting meditation, but meditation has two forms: sitting and everything else, mindfulness. So ultimately, if you're serious, everything will become the form of meditation. But sitting is important. Being still, being quiet is important because it can concentrate the mind much easier. So we'll describe that first. So your focus, we usually, the most popular focus in this style of meditation is the breath. You're all alive. I think so. You're all alive, and you've always known you were alive. There's a part of you that is aware that you are alive, and therefore you're breathing. So what could be more basic than making the focal point of your sitting meditation your breath? In and out, in and out. And we have little techniques that we could give someone to keep that focus. Because what you'll find out is, that sounds very simple, doesn't it? But what you find out is the mind still takes off. The mind still takes off into the future and into the past, and pretty soon you're not with the breath anymore. So if you look at the schema, the bottom part is the focus. You're focusing on the in and out. You feel the breath. You don't think about it, you feel it. Breathing in, breathing out, little pause in the middle. It's all natural. Breathing in, breathing out. You can count the breaths. If you need more help, you can count the breaths. Sometimes I like to say, on the in-breath, silently say, calm mind. Because you want a calm mind, right? Everybody that comes to our group, they're not trying to be Buddhists, they just want a calm mind. In-breath, calm mind. Out-breath, clear mind. You want a clear mind, too. You want to clear things up. Okay, so your mind wanders, though. Where's it go? Future, past, whatever. You notice it's wandered. Now you're back to being present. You're practicing mindfulness now. You notice your mind has wandered. And what do you do with that? Rule number one, don't block thoughts, but don't follow them either. Don't block them, but don't follow. You're not trying to think a certain way. You're just focusing on the focus. Thoughts arise, and you let them go. You let them go. Why is that important? Because that letting go means that when you get out in the world, which is the other half of meditation, where you pay attention to what you're doing and why, when you get out into the world, anger comes, you spot it, let it go. Sometimes you fail, but then you notice you failed. Come back. Come back. It's a constant being present, coming back to where else do you live your life? You don't live it in the future. Actually, the future never gets here. Really, think about it. It never gets here. It's always the present when it arrives. It never gets here. In the past, that's gone, and you're only remembering it the way you want to think about it anyway. You're modifying the hell out of all those memories so that you can conduct your greatest narrative. We're always making a movie. It's called our identity. And man, that's a lot of hard work. That's the separate self. That's the separate self that when you do this practice, you let go of thought, speech, and action. You let it go and come back to the focus. It's like a circle. Some people sit down and they say, I can't meditate because I can't stop thinking. That's part of the game. That's part of the game. And over time, when the witness gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and you have more sacred space between the stimulus and the response, that's where the sacred space is. So since you're triggered by things, and rather than just responding mindlessly, you got that space and you can have a reaction. Not a reaction, but a response. You can respond rather than react, is what I want to say. That's why it's powerful. That's why it has been adopted. When Buddhism moves into a country, it always percolates for a while, figures out what the people are conditioned by, cultures condition people, figures out what the culture is conditioned by primarily, and that's where it becomes popular. Here, psychotherapy. Psychotherapy. So here, the psychotherapeutic society or community has adopted this style of meditation, mindfulness meditation, because it works. It's got a 2,600-year history. It works. And it speeds up the therapy. Because all they want to do is you want to see what the trigger mechanisms are for your behavioral pattern that you're there in the first place for. Your life's not working out or you wouldn't be there. So anyway, that's what's happening. Now, you don't have to focus on the breath. There's other practices too. You can focus on positive emotions. We have, in fact, at the end of the service, we will do a hymn, which is actually a musical presentation of loving kindness meditation from the Metta Sutra. May all beings be happy. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free of suffering. Send yourself some good mojo for a change, rather than beating yourself up for what you failed to do and how you didn't live up. Oh, we got a huge epidemic in this country of I'm not good enough. I experienced it, so I understand that completely. You can also focus on bodily sensations. Having trouble falling asleep at night? Do a body scan. Google it. You can Google anything nowadays. Google body scan, and you'll get just tons of information about how to do it and so forth and so on. No secrets. And if you also Google meditation, you will get guided meditations. What I haven't described a guided meditation, but it's for people who need a little more help, maybe. Get guided. It's relaxing anyway, which is what you want anyway. So, that's what our meditation practice is all about. And I started that in 1978, and I never looked back, because it saved my life. I'd have probably been killed in a drunk driving accident somewhere. In fact, I didn't even need alcohol. I got in 2 accidents, so I quit driving. So I got bad eyes. So I had enough problems anyway. So that's my story. That's how I got here. That's why I'm enthusiastic about this practice. There's other kinds of practice that doesn't suit you. Like I say, Google it, you'll find something. And I would like to have Myra come up here and tell her story and her journey about the sacred pause. Thank you.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm Myra Cseke, and I attend the Tuesday, Saturday meditation group that Jerry leads that's here at the church. And he asked me to come here today to just provide a little talk on my personal experience with the sacred pause. So I have to say I began seeking this pause probably in my early 30s without really even knowing what it was or how to obtain it. I had a feeling of unending restlessness and discontent and was unsure as to why I felt this unhappiness, considering I had tried my best to follow the directions to obtain life happiness, which were go to college, get married, have a successful career, earning lots of money, get good benefits, and of course, kids. Now, I can't say I was great at taking instructions, as I had more of a rebellious streak and enjoyed going against the grain. On this so-called list of things to do to be happy and a successful person, I didn't get them all done, and probably in the manner in which my parents would have preferred. I did manage to go to college and graduate. I have a career in the nonprofit sector, which secured me a below-average salary and spotty benefits. I was married, then divorced, and now married again happily. And the never-ending question for younger adulthood: do you have kids, or when are you going to have kids, and why aren't you having kids? Now, not having children is a complicated and loaded question. One of the primary reasons I chose not to have children is because of my childhood experience. I just couldn't bear the thought of bringing a child into this world and experiencing the pain and anguish I had experienced as a child. For me, as a child, my home life was frightening and stressful. My father had a very volatile personality with violent tendencies that I did everything I could to avoid. In my teenage years, I became less fearful and more angry. Actually, I was completely pissed off. Of course, this led to all sorts of self-destructive type activities throughout my teens and adulthood that just made matters worse. I watched as other people were running around, happy with smiles on their faces, and seemed to be so positive and had the capacity to manage their lives, where I felt I was teetering on a ledge and could fall off at any moment. I realized that I needed some help sorting out this mess of pain, sorrow, grief, and anger that I had all balled up inside of me, rotting a hole through my chest from the inside out. After spending thousands of dollars in therapy, I finally felt I had a better grip on my emotions, processed some trauma, found some forgiveness, and this experience was life-altering, and it gave me some much-needed peace. But something was still not right. I still had these vestiges of fear, anxiety, dread, and insecurity that would cause me to say or do things that I would regret. These weren't big regrets like when I was in my 20s. These were more subtle and nuanced, mostly. I wanted to free myself from all of these little pains through our thoughts, words, and actions. As minute as they may seem, that, at least for me, they added up over time and were dragging me down. I first came to meditation to learn how to relax and how to calm my mind and cope with my unending existential crisis. I had no idea of the profound impact and vast benefits meditation would have on my life. I wanted to be free from regret, free from the lingering feeling that I should not have said or done that, or I should have said and done this. I had a hard time sorting these things out in the moment and would spend time running these reels of past actions or inactions in my head as an ongoing form of torture. Going to meditation practice instilled in me a new kind of habit, a pause, not just my old automatic fight or flight response. It has helped me to let go of being right. It has helped me to ask myself, is my intention of compassion? It has helped me to become a better listener. It has given me the opportunity to respond instead of react. I started to apply my newfound mindfulness skills most readily to my work relationships, personal relationships, and also toward myself. These new skills were really put to the test when I went home to visit my parents in 2021. Knowing of my parents' disappointment and my half-completed and somewhat inaccurately completed to-do list of how to be happy in life, conversations with them weren't always easy. Additionally, to ramp up the anxiety level, this was during COVID, Trump was president, and my father wanted to talk politics. Need I say more? I patiently listened to him and acknowledged his comments and perspectives on immigration and who is deserving and who is not and who is lazy. They are draining our resources, and on and on and on. So if you haven't been able to glean from this story yet, my father is a staunch conservative and 100% capitalist, and I am the exact opposite. So our conversations could easily turn into very unpleasant arguments with shouting, obscenities, and even insults. However, this conversation was different. It was different because I was listening to him. I was acknowledging what he said and not defending. I think this really threw him off track. He continued to talk, getting more and more agitated and more extreme in his statements. It became clear he was baiting me for a fight, and I almost took it. I felt energy welling in my chest, and I knew I was ready to begin yelling, but there was a pause. I had a space that was created, and I did not react. I chose to respond, and this was a new kind of response. Not only was I able to remain calm and thoughtful, I accessed my truth and my authentic self in that moment. I conveyed what I felt in my heart, and when I spoke, I said it with heart. My father was completely dumbfounded. He looked stunned and just kind of stared at me. He didn't have a response. This was amazing. I couldn't believe for the first time in my life I did not fall victim to the same old trap I fell into every time. I had just stopped it. I didn't feel bad about anything I said or done, and I didn't feel I should have said something and didn't. Wow. This was such a powerful moment and newfound freedom. Since the 3 years I've been practicing, I've noticed I have less stress, less worry, don't take things so seriously, and have a greater awareness of when my ego is at play and could be mucking things up. Over the summer, my father became very ill and was hospitalized. I was getting regular updates from my mother and siblings. My mother was extremely stressed. My siblings were struggling with taking turns to provide support and deal with my parents' financial affairs, which should have been in better order than what they were. All of us kids knew this would be an issue, and now here it was. Everyone was stressed, sleep deprived, and in a tailspin navigating the healthcare system. After some thought and setting my attention for my purpose, I purchased a one-way ticket home. Because of this practice, I was able to walk into this storm. A few years ago, I may have chosen not to do so because it would have been just too hard. Even though my relationship with my family, and especially my father, has been difficult with many challenges, I was able to let go of the past, to stop resisting what is, and to be fully present with quality, care, and love. I was able to let go and redirect my energy toward what was most important at that moment instead of being swept away by what ifs and fear. After several months, my father has mostly recovered and is doing much better. I have immense gratitude for this practice and that's what it is, a practice. You do your best to do it all the time, even with the little things, and it all adds up and helps you get through the really hard times.
Friends, now is the time in our service for our offering. We give to remind ourselves of how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are all part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and friendship. We give with the faith that together we have enough. I want to personally thank Jerry Ashmore for his talk today and his leadership in my life. He's changed my life, and did a really good job, Jerry. Thank you. And Myra mentioned being in the nonprofit sector. What she didn't mention is she's an awesome activist, and she's done amazing things helping people, and she does that all the time. The money in the baskets goes to sustain the mission of this community. I see we have a number of visitors here, as is frequent. Please know that there is no expectation for you to put money in the baskets. You are guests, and we are your host. If you'd like to, that's fine, but there's no expectation. The money in the cups is loose change for social change. Every month or so, we have a new charity to give to. This month and next month, it is, last month and this month, it is in fact Hearts in Motion, which Myra Cseke works for. They do awesome work in helping people. So helping people in need is what the money's going to this month, and the loose change for social change. Everybody is encouraged to participate in that if you can. For those of us not here today, there is an online link for both one-time and regular donations. 4 volunteers. I see we have 4 volunteers.
And now please rise and body our spirit, body of our spirit for our clothing hymn, number 1031 in your seal hymnal, filled with loving kindness, number 1031.
Filled with loving kindness,
This is a responsive reading in your gray hymnal, number 597. Love versus hate. Never does hatred cease by hating in return. Only through love can hatred come to an end. Victory breeds hatred. The conquered dwell in sorrow and resentment. They who give up all thought of victory or defeat may be calm and live happily at peace. Let us overcome violence by gentleness. Let us overcome evil by good. Let us overcome the miserly by liberality. Let us overcome the liar by truth. This is by Dhammapada.
Well, it's late November, dark and cold, well, it is light. When the old man here is bending low, well, it is light. When the sun runs off the bed too soon, well, it is light. And there's nothing but a skinny moon, well, it is light. And tell me, where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. When the dark keeps morning, when I rise, where is the light? And it's dark, my eggs are frying, where is the light? And it's dark enough to work I go, where is the light? And it's dark again when I get home, where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. It's in my skin and in my bones, in my heart and in my soul. It's light that's the bright light that covers it. When the sun goes missing in the sky, it is rising in my eyes, chasing all those winter blues away. Well, I'm burning bright like kerosene. Where is the light? I'm twinkling like Beauty and Beast. Where is the light? And I'm dancing like the candle flame. Where is the light? And I'm thinking like the fruit farm bear. Where is the light? Ladies and gentlemen, where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. 2, 3, 4, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together